So as this discussion of logic has gone on, both Trick and Mendham have tried to take the tack that uh, a thing's relationships are inherent qualities, and it's a little bit frustrating in that I don't really want to take the time to prove that that's just not the view of classical logic. You guys are trying to claim to use a system, and that's just not how it's set up, because an inherent quality is supposed to be something about the thing that makes it the thing. It's not supposed to be dependent. But let's just use a physical example here. You can see how this just doesn't work out. Looking at relationships as inherent qualities is kind of nonsensical. It's a distinct thing, a relationship, to some other phenomena. Okay, so for example, let's take a very physical example. Velocity. Velocity is relative, right? So you could be moving 1,000 miles an hour with respect to the surface of the Earth, but moving 0 miles an hour with respect to a whale that's right next to you, floating. Right? So is your velocity inherent but different? So I have infinite number of inherent philosophies, and if that velocity that I have with respect to Earth, that's one of my inherent qualities at that moment, I guess. Um, so that means, but that velocity requires the Earth to be there. So then the Earth is an inherent quality of me, and every object in the universe that I know about or don't know about, I have infinite qualities. Okay, none of that works in logic. If qualities work that way, then you know, they're unknowable and irreducible. There's an infinite number, always more of them. That's, you can never categorize something because it would always have an infinite number of inherent properties relating it to everything in the universe. That's way more chaos than just pointing out that, hey, there is reality. Your velocity is 1,000 miles an hour, by pointing out that what has velocity is the relationship. Me and the Earth. That relationship has a velocity, and it's an actual velocity that the laws of physics are going to react to. My velocity with the whale, again, it's a concrete value associated with that relationship. Well, why don't you want to do this? It turns out you can make concrete statements about relationships. Why is that not good enough? I don't know. But an inherent quality is supposed to be specifically something that is distinct from the relationship. So you define things with inherent qualities, and then you do the mathematics and the logic about how they're all interrelated. And you deal with relationships as though they could be specified as qualities of a thing, and you're just putting epicycles like Ptolemy's system. It's like, well, it's not perfect circles. How about circles in circles and infinite numbers of circles and circles and circles, all to avoid looking at things a little bit differently without the Earth in the center. I don't know, why do you want to cast these things as qualities? See, if relationships could be qualities, then all of this logic of qualities that we have in predicate logic would fail. Because you couldn't ever ascertain if something was in a set because it didn't have deducible qualities. Every permutation of it with every other object in the universe becomes its inherent quality. It's a mess. And it's ridiculous to go to thinking that my inherent qualities, so called, are other things, since things like my velocity is in relationship to someone else, then that someone else is part of my inherent qualities. What are you trying to say about it? How is this going to help logic work better? The thinking that relationships that you have are inherent qualities is more damaging to the way logic works than what I'm proposing, which is to just realize that these measurements that we use to describe qualities, they're always measurements of relationships. They're characterizations of a relationship that has been determined.